COVID cases are falling in Oregon, and that means 16 counties can loosen restrictions. The governor officially announced the changes yesterday.
Yeah, we want to show you the new map of where counties will stand starting Friday. So in the metro area, Multnomah County stays the same at high risk, but Clackamas and Washington counties will move down from high to moderate risk. And Marion and Yamhill counties will move down from extreme to high risk. So this will allow for a significant change for businesses in these counties, with more people allowed inside at restaurants, entertainment venues, and gyms. And it's especially significant for Marion and Yamhill counties because these businesses will now be allowed to offer indoor options for the first time in months. Coming up in our next half hour, our Bryant Clerkley will break it all down for us.
We're also continuing our focus on Oregon's vaccine rollout, and we have a more positive angle to share this morning because we know there's been a lot of frustrations with appointment signups, especially in the Portland metro area. But the process really seems to be working right now in Marion County. Viewers wrote us and said Salem Health has actually made it easy. They use the word easy to sign up for the mass vaccination clinic at the state fairgrounds. The public health director for Marion County says planning has really been the key. The county started planning for that state fairgrounds site last spring, almost a full year ago. They've used lessons that they learned from the H1N1 pandemic 11 years ago. They say they have weekly check-ins to talk about what's working and what's not working. And the director also said the entire team with Marion County Public Health has chipped in to make that engine run.
There was one day I drove around Salem collecting syringes and needles to drop off at the fairgrounds. So, we're willing to do whatever it takes to make it run smoothly.
In addition to the state fairground site, Legacy has a vaccination clinic in Woodburn, and Kaiser is giving shots in Marion County as well. Let's take a look at the latest vaccination numbers for the entire state right here. So more than 500,000 people in Oregon have now gotten at least their first dose of the vaccine. 282,000 people have received both shots, so that's about 7% of the state's population that's fully vaccinated. 266,000 people have gotten just their first shot.
Let's get to three more things to know about COVID this morning. Number one, Washington health officials confirmed the first case of the South African variant in King County. The patient tested positive on January 29th. A lab at the University of Washington discovered the variant less than a month later. They don't know the person's travel history because they can't get a hold of them. But health officials say at this point it may not matter because it's been so long since the patient tested positive. Number two, starting today in Oregon, Walgreens can administer COVID vaccines to the general public. The state is receiving more than 8,000 doses as part of a new federal program. You can book your time slot online or by calling 1-800-WALGREENS. Eligibility is based on Oregon's vaccine guidelines. Walgreens says supplies are limited, so please be patient when trying to schedule your appointment. And number three, vaccine makers tell Congress the supply will get a big boost over the next few months. Moderna and Pfizer expect to produce 220 million doses by the end of March. That's a huge increase from the 75 million doses shipped so far. President Biden says the goal is to get every American vaccinated by this summer. And those are three things to know about COVID right now.
Well, in an update to a story we brought you yesterday, football players at Gresham Barlow will now get to have a season this year after all. We told you the district decided it was opting out of an 11-on-11 full contact season, devastating seniors on the team. But yesterday late morning, leaders reversed course, saying they'll let the high schoolers play. District officials say they changed their minds because of improving COVID metrics in the Portland area.
Another local high school has a new name this morning. We're talking about what was Madison High in Northeast Portland.
Yeah, a committee, including many students, has been working for months to decide on the new name, and they chose to make it Leotis V. McDaniel High, named after a former principal of the school. Madison is under renovations right now, and Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero said it's fitting that students will be entering a modernized building that's the first local high school to be named for a Black Portlander who dedicated his life to public education. McDaniel led the school through desegregation and busing. Students talked to us about why he embodies the values of their school.
He was well known for his kind demeanor, contagious laugh, integrity, and his ability to be able to connect with all individuals on a deeper level.
After President James Madison, who was also a slave owner, and students spoke out at a board meeting last year, calling for a name that wasn't rooted in a history of racism.
The city of Portland has agreed to settle a lawsuit over the death of Quannas Hayes. In 2017, a Portland police officer shot the black teen 3 times with an AR-15 rifle. Police say at the time, Hayes was a suspect in several armed robberies. Officers found him hiding in front of a home in Northeast Portland. They say he reached for his waistband, and that's when they shot him. A replica gun was later found nearby. The officer involved, Andrew Hurst, was not charged in the shooting. A grand jury ruled it was justified. In 2018, the Hayes family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city and Hurst. Now, a settlement has been reached, with the city agreeing to pay about $2 million. The city council does still need to approve the settlement. That's expected to happen March 10th. Clark County's prosecuting attorney is getting behind the effort to put body cameras on local law enforcement. But there are hurdles to clear before that can happen. Tim Gordon reports.
Well, I spoke with both the prosecuting attorney and the sheriff here in Clark County, and they both tell me they've wanted body cameras for law enforcement for a long time. But there is certainly a push to get it done at this point in time. And the events of the last year are a part of that. The prosecuting attorney telling me directly that's the case since George Floyd and social protests of the last year. And also in Clark County, there have been 2 deputy-involved shootings, both of black men, one in October and one just earlier this month. They're both still under investigation. But certainly, law enforcement accountability and transparency is part of this push to get these body cameras in place.
We just need to do everything that we can to increase transparency, to regain public trust to the very best degree that we can. And body cams, in my opinion, are a very clear tool.
Now, the sheriff is as much in favor of these body cameras as anyone. In fact, he's got a budget proposal for them that he plans to present to the county councilors in March, and he has a good feeling that they'll pass it. Tim Gordon, KGW News.
Love seeing this story in Washington County yesterday. After 18 months of recovery and rehab, Sergeant Jeremy Braun returned to work full-time for the Washington County Sheriff's Office. It was back in August of 2019 that he was critically injured, that is. He was shot during a manhunt for an armed suspect near Henry Hagg Lake. But before he could even think about working again, Sergeant Braun had to relearn how to walk, how to talk, and even how to eat.
Death means nothing to me anymore. Because I understand how close it is, I think we as Americans think that death is further away than it actually is. Death is right there.
Braun earned a promotion during his recovery. He was a corporal, but again, he is now Sergeant Braun.
Well, we're continuing to check out the winter storm recovery and the number of people still without electricity. Those numbers getting better every hour. As of last night, it was about 10,000. This morning, we're down to just over 4,000 PGE customers without power, almost all of those in Clackamas or Marion counties. And the company says, of course, it's the toughest repairs that are left.